So throughout this year, I've been doing an open source project for every single month. And they've been small little pieces of code that are reusable. And it's part of a bigger project that I'm working on. And Eric's been very helpful on this. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be releasing a Skinless UI Toolkit. And by Skinless UI Toolkit, I mean it's about architecture for front-end code. So JavaScript, CSS, and of course HTML. And the idea is that it's portable to whatever project that you're working on. So closest thing out there is probably Inuit. So it's not like a bootstrap or anything. It's really about architecture for front end. So one of the things that I've been working on is responsive suffixes. And I've given this project its own name. So this is on CodePen right now. I have a current release of it. And it's CodePen.io/nice transition is my CodePen. And the idea here is that when you have a selector and you're trying to target different viewports, that you can put in your CSS properties and it exports it with a suffix at the end. And it's for small, medium, and large screens. And it's based off of this article that was called BEMIT. It's by Harry Roberts, or CSS Wizardry. It's really, really awesome architecture. So it uses the @ symbol, and it allows you to really identify your selectors and where you're having styling for smaller screens versus larger screens. As I said, this is going to get really confusing, but I put it together a diagram, and then I'm going to show you a snippet of code. So at first it has your selector name, and then at the end you put @large. So these are for larger viewports. Then you can also have @small. So say your major breakpoint was 700 pixels. So if you put @large, anything that say it was foo @large, those properties would only be applied above 700. @small would be applied below 700 pixels. And then there was medium. And I recently rewrote this because the medium was very confusing on how it worked. And in the initial release, the version that's out on my CodePen, it's like version 0.2, and it was last updated in March. The medium section is really wonky. You have to really understand how the code's written for it to work. So I've rewritten that. So the medium is where it gets really confusing, but it's really beneficial if you understand how it works. So there's @medium, and @medium is in between your small and medium, or small and large. But then there's this medium plus, where it's saying, take this object. For a medium, you need to have a small size of the medium, so a starting point of the medium, and an end point of the medium. So medium plus allows you to go everywhere from that first breakpoint of the medium to above. A medium plus plus, or a large to medium, is the second medium. This is going to get even more confusing, but it will make sense. The medium to large is going from the second medium to where the large starts. So it's a chunk of the medium. And then we have the medium to small, which is the other chunk of the medium, so the other half of the medium, where it's meeting in that middle break of small and medium, or small and large. And then we have the medium minus minus, which is the exact opposite of the medium plus plus, and then the medium negative. Now, I don't assume anyone understands that, so that's why a diagram makes sense. And this is why I put a presentation together. So imagine this white line is the viewport of your, I guess, browser. So on the left side is the small, on the right side is the large. So say that line there is at 700 pixels. So I apply properties, and I want them to apply small or large. So at the large side, they extend that way. Small side, they go that way. And then there's the medium. Now, the interesting thing about the medium, and this is where I got it wrong, is there's actually different coordinates here. So if you look at this initial line from small to that first black line there, that's its own coordinate. And the medium's its own chunk, and then large is its own chunk. But then there's these two in-between chunks of where it's highlighted in blue, the left and the right of that in-between divider. So that's where the medium plus happens. So that's the first breakpoint on the medium and above. And then there's the medium negative, which is the other side. And then there's the medium to small, which is taking the medium to the small size. And then there's the medium to large, which is the inner side. So based off this, you can target almost any single side from a small to a medium to a large and everything in between. And then here's the medium plus plus, so that's the last little piece here. And then the reverse of it. So with that, it's 3 primary mixins that were made and a 4th one that was added in. So Suffixcate is what the project's called, and by applying this inside of a selector and putting properties inside of it, it can create these suffixes for you. Inside there, you can just make a small one if you want to do that and target that. If you want to make just a large one, you can do that. If you want to make just a medium, you can do that with all those variations inside there. And then you can do what is called a Suffixcate extend. So one of the hardest things to do is extend media queries inside of Sass. So the add extend directive does not play well with media queries. So this mixin kind of takes care of it for you. And I will show a quick demo of this stuff. So hopefully that wasn't confusing or boring yet. So here's the original version here. So this is again out there. I'm working on this next release. I should probably have it out by this weekend. So this is actually going to be the first, I guess, V1 if you want to call it. Make this bigger. So here it starts off with some variables that are in the beginning, and this is that primary breakpoint, so the small versus large, and then here's that medium. So it's an object or a Sass map that has a small size and a large size, so it's a scale. And then these are, you can override the names for it, so if you don't want to use at small or at medium, at large, you can override it here. But the cool thing about this is, no matter what, I can always pass it through my mixin. You can read this code. I was trying to make it be backwards compatible to the old version. Then I realized that my first version was only in beta. And I said, fuck it. So version 1, I don't care if you're using the old version of it. So to give you a quick little demo here.
Did you leave that in participation?
Yeah, I said, fuck it. So let's just say we have foo. Check that out. We have color red. This is CSS. And I'm just going to write the word hi. What do you guys bet that will be? It'll probably be red. There it is. So this guy's red. You probably can't see that, can you? Let's make it lime. All right, so this guy off to the side is red. Yeah, I was going to do that, just so you guys can see this. There we go. All right, so foo is lime, right? That's CSS. But if I want to say at include Suffixcate, and I say color is lime, now foo still remain lime, and if I change this to something like yellow, it will still work the same way because it will output it. But now what I can do is say at large, and now you'll see that it's white, so it goes to its default inherited color. But when I get bigger, oh, it's not going to like it. So this turns yellow here. Okay. Yeah, so here it gets bigger because my default variable inside here, I believe, is 700 pixels. So I'm just kind of consoling this out my viewport size. But what I can also do is I can pass an argument inside here and say BP is equal to 500 pixels. And I can use rems, ems, or any unit. So again, it's lower than that, and then above it, it becomes green. I can say at small, and it's the reverse of it. So now when I'm below 500 pixels, it's green. When I'm above it, it's not. But I could also let's go to the default values inside here, or I can actually pass in a different thing. So let's do something that will make sense. So my main breakpoint will be 500 pixels. That's the small versus large. And then I'm going to pass in my medium breakpoint, which I will say is, actually let's make this 700. Let's say 700 and 500 and 800 pixels. So my small and large will happen at 700 pixels here. And my medium will happen in between 500 and 800. So when I get to 500, we will see this turn green. And when I get above 800, it will go back to white. So that's how this guy works. It also works with BEM. So if I said something like bar, so now I have foo at medium, and let's just put this guy in the span and say foo bar at medium. It will work the same way unless I have a typo inside here. There we go. So how this compiles out is if I look at my compiled code, it adds kind of all the magic for you. It does all the annoyance of looking at medium to large sizes and puts them all out. Now if I want to extend this to another thing, so I have foo here, and I say I want to make pizza, and I say at include Suffixcate extend, and I can pass in multiple objects in here, so it's actually an object or a SAS map that can be passed in, and I say I want to extend foo, and then by doing this, if I look at the code, it'll compile out and extend all the SAS for it. I put together even another demo here, and then I will be done talking. So this is just hidden here to show you how this works. And this is really great for doing like table structures or anything like a grid system to put inside here. So this is passing green. You can see the small size, medium minus minus, and then the different sizes of it. Let me get rid of that high because that's a nuisance. And that's how that guy works. So yeah, I'll be releasing this and finalizing the documentation for the medium stuff this week. That's it.